Hi everyone in English 2323. It's Dr. E and I'm here with your week 7 instructional video. Hope everyone's doing all right. We're heading into a week that looks pretty familiar, nothing necessarily new, but I want to note that the reading for this week is a little bit longer, right? We have the full text of The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, as well as his biography. So just plan accordingly, right? So I would definitely suggest that you uh, take time with the text. Don't sit and try to read it all at once. Um, Stevenson's writing is full of imagery and description. It's written in a manner that is pretty approachable given our, contemporary reading standards. But it's still dense. It's still dense with that imagery. So make sure that you are just allowing for that and not trying to bang it all out at once. Just be kind to yourself. Okay, so there is a discussion post and responses, right? So on Thursday, that discussion is due, and then you'll have the response to two colleagues. And remember, if there is the plus sign before and after the points, that means it is bonus, right? So it won't count against you if you don't complete it, but there are some additional points available if you do. And remember to get that bonus credit, it needs to be an engaged response, not just a quick kind of, oh yeah, I agree. Engage with the ideas that your colleagues are presenting. And then, of course, you have the weekly quiz on Sunday. So if we scroll down, I wanted to put a note here. I'll explain that in a second, but it's just in case I forget. All right, so we have our week 7 discussion. And what I want you to note is that we're kind of changing formats a little bit. So because Stevenson is really known for utilizing that figurative language, um, it's once you start reading, it'll make sense. He uses this kind of descriptive language that actually kind of lacks description. So what I want us to do is choose a character from the text. So it can be any character. It can be Utterson, it can be Hyde, it can be Dr. Jekyll. I mean, anybody that piques your interest. And based on that, I want us to create an image utilizing AI. Okay, so I want to point out that there are definitely reasons to use AI at times. A lot of times in academic spaces, it is discouraged, but we are utilizing it in a productive way, right? We're not asking it to complete our work or our writing. But regardless, AI comes with ethical concerns about access. It comes with very real concerns about the environment and what utilizing AI, especially image creation requires a lot of that energy that's used to create AI. So if you're not familiar, AI is just working to generate ideas and generate content, but that requires, you know, where does it come from, right? So it's these large servers that are using a lot of energy, and because of that, there's overheating and lots of water is required to keep those servers cool. So there are definitely concerns about the environment, as well as, companies are building these server sites and taking over land, and it's it, if you have ethical concerns, which I completely understand, what you can do is, instead of utilizing an AI generator, you can definitely kind of create some sort of collage. So go to Google Images or any of these other places and kind of collect images to put together. Whatever is going to work for you. You can use Canva. Please note that a lot of those steps still involve AI in some way or another, but not potentially to the level of using an actual AI image generator. Okay, I'm just going to put it out there. So if you have those ethical concerns, there is that alternative route. So what I want you to do is, choose a character and then pick an image generator. So Canva, Deep AI, Pixar, you can also, ChatGPT has an image creator. So the free options I've included here, right? You may have to set up an account, but it is free. I'm going to pause to cough. And so, given the details that Stevenson provides, I want you to input features. I have stressed use some of his language, but I want you to also read and kind of in your mind, what is the image that those words are creating in your mind and input that, right? So, we all read differently. We all kind of create these characters in different ways in our minds. So, though using some of Stevenson's, terminology can be helpful, I want us to, think about how those words translate in our mind. Like, what are we thinking as we're reading Stevenson when it comes to his characterization, right? Um, Ask the generator to produce an image, right? So if we go to, like, let's do DeepAI. Okay, so you can see, I mean, they all look something similar to this. So you're going to put in, create an image, based on, and then you just, so ask it to create an image. You can ask it to create a cartoon image. You can ask him to create a realistic image. You can choose a style at the bottom. Ye new, ye old. So you can play around with it a little bit. But again, every time you play around with it, it means that it's utilizing that energy and taxing the environment in some ways, right? So just, I don't want you to use these things without kind of thinking about everything. Okay, so I want you to just kind of copy and paste what you've input into the image. So once you're done with it, just copy it, right? And then you're going to paste it in your thread because you want to give us a sense of like what's the language you use to create this image. Okay, tell your audience which AI generator you used, right? And then once the image has been produced, copy and paste your details, um, and then paste the actual image, right? So I have an example here I'll show you in just a second. Finally, um, let's write a paragraph that really kind of digs into this image. Like, is this image kind of connecting to what you had in your mind, or is it different? And if so, how? So really push by asking yourself how or why in this paragraph. What details could you add to help the image and help your audience really get a sense of the character you envisioned? Okay, so I've offered an example. So I used ChatGPT and entered this, create a cartoon image of the following. So I picked out, some details for Mr. Ederson, a character that you'll read about. So rugged countenance, he's a gin drinker, austere, a man who seems friendly but is reserved, lean, long. Utterson is a character that Stevenson uses so much time to describe, but there's really no real description. There's no there when it comes to his description. So I had fun trying to kind of pull out like, what is a generator going to create here? Because what does rugged countenance mean to me versus what it might mean to you? Austere, it's we have these descriptors, but they're not really overall helpful. So we have to create images in our mind, and now we're trying to create one here. All right, and then so I give you a description of how does this how does this image relate, right? So it's a cartoon image. Sure, it's not necessarily the time period we're going for because we're talking more about um, you know a Victorian era anyhow. So this is just an example um, of how to go about this process. I hope it's something enjoyable, even if you're not using one of the AI generators. I think putting together an image based on the detail that Stevenson provides can be really, really interesting. Okay. So if we go back to week 7, that is kind of our focus for this week. I wanted to allow for plenty of time for you to actually read the text because again, it is lengthier. And then you have a pretty dense quiz based on the reading. So make sure that you're aware of that. Take your time. Let the ideas kind of sink in before you attack that quiz, just so that you're not wasting your time and going back and trying to uh, resubmit over and over again to get those correct answers. All right, if you have any questions, definitely let us know here in the Q&A section, or you can reach out to me directly. And good luck this week.